Setting up. Getting there.
Is it actual live or is it?
It should be,
recorded?
unless we have an issue like we did on Monday, which. Should be good. Yeah, we're live.
Good evening. Welcome to the Bethel Local Schools Board of Education special meeting for the Facilities Committee meeting on Wednesday, December 10th at 2025 at 6:03. Ms. Reese, will you call to order, please?
Yep, Rick Gilbert. Natalie Donahue,
Here.
Damon Smith,
Here.
Caleb Runkle,
Here.
Julie Reese, present, Todd Bird,
Here.
Lorna Furterer. Here. Jason Pickett.
Here.
Mindy Campbell.
Here.
Bren Cox.
Here.
Amy Novelino. And Andy Beat.
Here.
Thank you. Well, thanks, everybody for attending tonight. I just wondered if anybody had any additions to the agenda, or if anybody knows if there's anything else that we would like to talk about tonight, other than what we normally have on our agenda. Okay. If not, we will talk about the minutes, hopefully from the November 5th, 2025 meeting. Hopefully everybody had a chance to go through this. They weren't too long this time, but just wanted to ask if anybody had any revisions or corrections. I didn't receive any myself. Okay, hearing none, then
I can send them as the official. Right.
I'm sorry.
I can send them to the treasurer as the
Ooh.
official. Okay. Please.
I'm a little stuffed, so definitely not hearing very good today. Sorry about that. Then we'll move into section 5, items for discussion, the subcommittee reports. So a big meeting was held on Monday at the Bethel Schools Board Workshop meeting, and that was December 8th at 6 p.m. And it was a review with several of our subcommittee folks that we need further information from, and we were hoping to gather. And Mr. Nutter was able to work with some of those folks over the past month or two, and they all agreed to come and attend the meeting on Monday. For the workshop, we had Mr. Bill Kiefler, who's the developer of Carriage Trails 2.0. FMD is an architect firm that we've worked with over the past year and a half, I would say. OFCC, which is the Ohio Facilities Committee Commission meeting committee, or with, I always forget what the other C is. My bad, I'm sorry. Ohio Facilities Commission. And just in general, they were briefing the board. Hopefully, if you didn't get to attend in person, and I know there were several people here in attendance, so thank you for taking the extra time to come, as well as it didn't really go too long. We were in a session for about an hour and a half, so maybe you had a chance to watch it last night. But it had a lot of good information. It was a lot of notes to take and a lot of information to dissolve, but hopefully everybody had something that they took away. Did anybody want to go through the information in specific with like what in order here, like what Mr. Kiefler talked about, the new information, or should we just kind of go through it versus our list that we had of the information that we wanted to go through? I will say that I did think I tried to get a timeline of when some of the additional information would come through. Last meeting, we talked about some of the enrollment and the new information that had been shared with us. I know we had the enrollment analysis report. We had the projection report, and then we also had the other packet. So we all had a copy of those. They didn't really go through that in any specific detail, just kind of went through the numbers and everything again, but if you want, I didn't feel like we had any further timeline that we knew we were gonna be getting the rest of the information. I don't know if anybody else felt like they could find that better than just soon. We're working on it.
Yep.
That was one of my main takeaways. Yeah,
What did he say the total number of homes was?
1480 over through 2040, Over
15
the-
years.
15 years.
40% single family. That's flexible. They're looking at senior living with patio homes and detached multifamily homes.
Say it again, 40%.
Yes.
40% will be single family,
At least, yeah,
flexible, of course.
yeah. And they're zone five homes per acre. They're looking at 3 units per acre, single family homes.
Which was one of the questions I was gonna ask Damon and I were talking about that. We kept hearing 7, but he said 5, so I'm assuming there's probably some
for 5 per
stipulations
acre.
through.
He said they were. looking
Plan,
at
looking at
3.
doing 3 per
They're-
acre.
For the single
On
family.
average, they're gonna be
Right.
looking at 3 to.
But I'm sure Huber, probably, they probably have some guidelines on.
Well,
houses
they,
you-
they in fact said that in one of the meetings at
Okay.
5. And, but just keep in mind that, that's kind of an average, right? So because they put 3 on one, that means they can put, the other 2 on another one. And that will come in when they do the multi ones, right? Because it'll be more compact and
Right.
the
Well,
3,
I thought, excuse me, I thought at planning board, that city planning board, they had actually upped it to 7 units per acre.
Not according to him at our
He said
meeting
they're
Monday.
zone Five,
There's zone for
5 homes
5.
per acre. That's what he said.
Well, he may have said that, but city Huber planning.
telling you
board
what he said, they're
approved
zoned at
7
right
homes
now.
per acre.
I didn't attend that one. I attended the one where they limited it to 5,
Yeah.
but I know it doesn't mean 5. Like if you put 3, that means there's 2 available for somewhere else, right? Because it's an average.
But he didn't state that on Monday.
He did
Specific, if we're
not.
talking specifically about what Bill said, he said we're zoned for 5 and that's what they were planning on doing 3, not 5, is what he
A
said.
single family,
For single family.
Right,
That's
and
all
that-
he stated on Monday.
right? And part of that,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
just
is,
saying what he stated. I'm not trying to.
right, part of that is, there's infrastructure that comes out of that acreage,
Mhm.
right? So you can't actually put that many homes and still have the streets
Correct.
and everything. So, but I think when you do like if you do an apartment building, it's gonna have more than 5 units on an acre, right? Because it's gonna go up.
Right, but when he was speaking of the 5 units per acre, he was
He's
speaking
talking about
specifically about single family homes.
That's what he was talking about. That's what he
Because if you're
said.
running 50-foot road, 50-foot frontage, lot frontage, at 120 deep, you can pack in 7 per acre.
Not what he said Monday.
That's
so
not
I
what he
don't
said.
know.
That's what he
not
said.
what he
He
said
said
Monday.
there's on
I
5
don't know.
single
That's what
family
he said
homes
Monday,
per
so.
acre.
Yeah.
And they're looking at 3 single family homes. No. just
We're not
telling
saying
you
that,
what-
we're just
what
saying
he
he said.
I'm just saying what he said.
I don't think when he said the 5 units per acre, he specifically said single family. That's the limit that they were given.
That was the context in which the conversation we were
Yes, it
having
was.
was about the
Mhm.
single family homes
Yes,
when
it
he
was.
brought that up.
Okay.
But yeah, that was one of the questions I was gonna ask. And I think
Right.
Jackie had a lot of them. So I mean, some
Right.
ones I think I was gonna ask Jackie hit on
Yeah.
several of them. So
Yeah.
I had 4 or 5 that I had written down and she asked, she covered quite a bit of the questions that we.
And some of those some of those rumors are things that I think we'd heard along the way at some of the Huber Council meetings and been shared back. So I'm glad that she asked those again, so
Yeah.
everybody can hear those and gather that. So that's good.
And he started with 121 homes and then 50, 50, 50, 50, and then 100 thereafter.
which as of right now, he said
That's what
0
he
of the
said.
120 are sold
Yeah.
Right.
right now.
Of that new 121
None of them are sold.
None of them sold.
section that they've got out, they have not sold a single lot yet.
Yeah.
As of right now, that's what's looking at,
Right.
but you said that could change.
How long have they been available to purchase?
I probably not very long.
Okay,
I would,
because I'm like,
I,
that to me, it was like, they just go to the market and that's what they haven't sold or have.
Yeah,
given out.
So just to go back to the 5 per acre for a minute, just to let you know, 5 at 296 acres is exactly 1480. So
Good.
that's
That's
not just single family, I'm just saying. Based on what I've been told in other meetings. I know he said it while he was talking about the single family, but I think that's an across the board. That's what the limit was at one point. I don't know about the planning board.
And I think that's where you have to go back to the county and ask for, you can go up to the county and pull an official, what they've recorded on their plat map, their plat plan.
Right.
For the plat maps.
And I know the hundred and twenty-one is what, Damon, that, had that proposal.
Right.
Or that plan,
Mhm.
plat map.
Yep.
That you shared with us a couple meetings ago, so,
For that first phase, yeah.
yes, yeah, that's good. And, lost my train of thought there, hmm. Remember. Oh, it was interesting that he said that none had been sold, because I thought we had been told that we're already receiving students that have been, parents have been, come in and said they have that, deed, or, that,
Commitment to
permit,
purchase a
yeah.
home or build a home on
Yeah,
the
I'm
lot.
not sure what that official
Yeah.
title is, because I
Right.
never built a home, but.
That could be from the remaining carriage
I
trails
think
one
that's
point
1.0.
oh.
That's,
not
that's the
2.0.
final, that's the final piece of the 1.0
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
It's
1.0.
finishing up right now.
I mean, I believe that.
Yeah.
I just thought that it was referenced to us that those were new kids for carriage trails too, so.
Know the 1.0 stats, acreage and.
He did not talk
Houses.
about 1.0. He just said finishing it up, right?
Mhm.
I think the thing, trying to look through my notes, there was a comment about green space or whatever, and he said there was 18 acres set aside.
Mhm.
And that could be potentially for a school or just green space, open space. That's really all, those are all my notes from that conversation, so anybody?
Was there any
remember
talk
any-
of a school down there?
That 18 acres is potentially available for it. Whether a school actually goes on it or not is not, he didn't commit, or
He
there
said-
were, there was no official, it's there if we want it, I think. I don't know if it was said in that particular
Mhm.
way specifically, but that
So it's not actual green space, though. It could be
It-
ours.
it is,
Yeah, it's
it is
between,
18 acres that are there,
It's not gonna be
Like,
houses.
yeah,
correct?
open space, maybe.
And not 10 here and 4 there and 4 here. It's a 18 acres.
Consecutive, yes.
Yeah.
So the other notes I had were the prices. He talked about the prices and said single family would probably be 450 plus.
Yeah, he said they
Um,
start in the upper 300s, but by the time they add in anything,
Yeah,
it'd
he said
be
they might
around the
advertise them at that.
400s to 500, around 500.
And as someone that is currently building a home in a development, that is not far from the truth.
Yeah.
I believe that, but I'm like, if I'm paying that much, I want land.
Well, he talked about that too. A lot of people don't. I've got 5 acres. I've got,
Right.
a lot of people don't. They don't want full.
But I
Got the
hear,
yard and up. Yeah, I'm with you too. But because it was even brought up about like starter homes, we were like, yeah, but he said, he did state that you'd be surprised. It's a lot of people with young kids that are purchasing these homes.
And just because they're 35 to 40 years old, buying those homes doesn't mean they have young kids, because people are delaying having kids and,
Yeah.
or they're still 40 and have a 6-month-old at home because they've got lots of kids. So, yeah,
You could be like 45 and have your third kid.
yeah, that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
I have a friend who's.
Yeah, absolutely. So the demographics of when people are getting married and having kids and buying homes are shifting from what they were 25, 30 years ago. So.
And he did say the average home buyer is now 40 years old. I don't
Average
Thinking
first time.
First time home buyer, yeah.
I don't think that's specifically for carriage trails, right?
No, I
was
think
a
that's just a
general-
general
Yeah.
trend in the United States.
As a real estate agent now.
First time home builders, maybe. Cause I'm 40 and I'm building my first home. It's not my first purchase, but it is my first new build. So I fall in that trend, suppose.
Well, yeah, I think there's more people in apartments now than
Yeah.
ever. I mean, you see the amount of multifamily buildings that are going up,
Yeah.
which would sway the average the other way.
Mhm.
Well, going back to the other 60%, he said that was gonna be multifamily and senior living.
Senior living, patio
Patio.
homes and detached multifamily is what he mentioned. He would not give percentages of those.
Who has the
So
extra
when he's about
agendas?
to rip me a new one.
The agenda.
Extra agendas? So she
Oh,
Does
can-
that play into
I
the
would-
only 50-50-50
Do you have
for?
extra agendas?
I can.
So
share.
those numbers that will he scheduled out, that's for all the units. 'Cause if we
Oh.
add those up, he said they come up to be 1425.
That's all the single family units, right?
The numbers for each year is everything.
Oh, okay.
Because that gets you to it gets you to 1425, which is close to the 1480.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of, I guess, their plan for building the build
Okay.
out.
So that included everything, okay.
Yeah, senior living, patio homes and detached multifamily, which are kind of like your 6-unit condominiums, things of
Sure.
that nature,
Or apartments.
or apartments, yes.
Yeah,
But
the,
40% of the 1480 that he mentioned is approximately 600
Six-
homes. Yeah,
and the first 121 lots are gonna be single family
correct.
Correct.
across this year and next year, and I guess.
Yeah, because what was the break?
What?
He told by, what was 120, 50. Remember he went through
Right.
the years of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wrote down.
Yep. 121, 50, 50, 50, 50, and then 100 after that. So 121 this year, and then it goes 50, 50, 50, 50,
54.
54, yeah.
Yep.
And then 100 all the way through what, 38, 39.
It's 3 years out though, it's.
You're,
says it
you're,
could change.
yeah.
It depends on the
Interest
Yeah.
after that.
Probably it could change in
Yeah.
the next 6
I
months.
think
Yeah.
it's softening
But he
now.
did say it
Yeah.
could change. I mean, that's,
And they reevaluate every fall to prepare for the next year.
Right.
yeah.
And he said definitely, we should check back and
He said he's willing to come out like every.
Yeah, he said.
Give us
Yeah.
updates.
Be annually. That'd be great.
Just to kind of give an update of where they're at and what they've done and what they're seeing.
Yeah, that was all the notes I had.
is there anything else on the developers? Discussion with us? Are you guys?
Well, I think it ties into segue into the next aspect of it, which is projected enrollment. I do know that the enrollment numbers that OFCC and FMD gave from the studies that they did, as well as Shared Service Alliance, all of those projections did not have new development included in that. That was just what we currently have and how enrollment's gonna go up over the next, I think they, did they go out 10 years? Whatever those numbers were, did not include the new homes.
That one last night was only what, out 5 years?
Is it this one?
No, it's the presentation they gave. The chart came from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
came
yeah,
from that.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
But
I
the
just-
numbers changed on one of them,
Yeah.
Potentially.
because I had the old one and the new one up there didn't match. So something changed. I just can't remember the part it
Because
was.
we went down in enrollment this year a little bit.
Yeah. But anyway, just.
They said those numbers were based on live birth rate.
Yeah,
and
it's that
then-
one. Top,
Based on survival cohort.
And survival.
Yeah.
Yeah, survival.
but none of that included any of Carriage Trail 2.0 anticipation and whatnot. So who knows what it's gonna end up being? That's what it is without that. So at least that was my understanding, correct? That's the way I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's just
the
based on
chart
our
that
current.
changed. It was different last night. The orange was totally different.
Yeah, because that only went out to 2031. That was only a 5-year.
Yeah, it says, so it was totally different than this.
Not totally, no.
It-
So
It
this
wasn't
year,
that one that had changed, it was this enrollment projection by grade,
Oh,
where it showed 2026 versus 2031. The orange had all changed.
okay.
And it might be because of what he said, or what you said about the numbers being lower this year.
Yeah.
we actually dropped in enrollment. Yeah, so last year it showed,
2390.
2031,
This thing.
2031,
I gave her the
2391.
agenda.
in 2031, in the year 2031, yeah, 2391.
I got 2319, so you.
Oh.
flip the
I must have flipped
digits,
the digits.
Unless I wrote it down wrong too.
No.
And then that 2319, that included CTC, right, the off. She was talking about that, but I couldn't hear exactly what the final was.
Some of it's butts and seats, as we call it.
So I think you're referring to the presentation that Jenny gave.
Yeah,
The numbers she gave in her presentation were Butson's. Did
that was
not
the
include-
2319.
Yeah.
So it did not include it.
I don't have her presentation, so I can't.
She worked on
Suffice it to
butts and
say,
seats.
we're getting a lot more kids and it's probably not accurate still. In the sense of like, this is the estimated, these are the projection totals. OFCC is still doing their own enrollment study, but none of it includes the new development.
And she even said, Valerie, we're always more on the conservative side. Didn't she say that in her talk?
We know that from last time.
But she
Yeah.
did encourage us to send in everything we have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
What's their timeline on that? OFCC.
OFCCs, we submitted the paperwork 2 weeks ago. I would assume they can turn it around relatively quickly, so they didn't give us like a hard and fast, we'll have it on this date, like they didn't give us a specific, but
Okay.
I would assume by January 1
Yeah.
or early January, we should have those.
Yeah, she seemed to be pretty quick
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
The next couple weeks.
Yeah.
She talked.
It's like the-
Yeah, we submitted everything on our end to get that process
Okay.
started. For them to do the enrollment study. We gave them all of the historical data from the last 10 years and
That's good.
Jen Mason and I worked on putting that stuff together and getting it submitted from like all the EMIS numbers.
Did they say that? Cause I might have missed that last night.
What's
Did
that?
that come up last night? Did I?
The OFCC study?
No, I mean,
No, that,
I did the fact that we submitted the information to them. Did you say? that?
She didn't mention
Oh,
that though,
okay.
but it's in process. I mean,
Okay.
we've submitted the information from our district side.
That's-
They've got everything they need in order to do that enrollment study.
Thank you. It's good to know. Thank you. Yeah.
So, that's good.
So the FM, I don't want to move through, but I'll just keep moving. The FMD presentation. That's one, I don't think we have that yet.
I've got it pulled up here. See it.
And it wasn't too terribly long. It was just a couple charts, really, honestly, yeah.
So I can read through some of it. They re-engaged with the OFCC and confirmed that they did confirm that we are locked into the 80-20. We have $23,655,016 in ELP credit to us, so little, 23.5 million. The 80 million, there was an $80 million number that was thrown out. I think that was for a new, whatever we want to build, whatever gets decided on being built. They talked about this new student enrollment projections. Another report is being created by OFCC. They gave the total enrollment projections. An example chart from the OFCC on types of buildings, types of funding, like what they can actually fund, what's co-funded, what's not, that kind of stuff. There was an aerial map of the acreage that we have. We have 168.96 acreage or acres. There's 10 acres back here, which is the stadium and softball and a little bit of the practice fields. There's 19, almost 20 acres that are the woods. And then there's another 125 acres, which is where the new stadium and the new elementary sit on currently. So they made the comment that there's plenty of room, plenty of space to build what we're gonna need to build. The one thing that, and Julie, you may have, or those of you that have been here a lot longer, I think FMD was under the impression that that 19, almost 20 acres of woods is able to be used, but I don't, isn't it in a conservatory or a no, I think it's a donated, the Studebaker family.
No.
There used to be a sign
Yeah.
back there. They donated it for,
For land.
Or like
for
a land.
like, I don't,
Land,
land, but is that something that was that tied to the donation that I feel like I've heard somewhere, this could be a rumor for sure.
That woods. That's what I've been told.
That
It's
that
like
land was
something about
donated.
owls or something, but yeah, that, all the trees is off limits.
But that's a different reason than you're saying. I've never heard that about the donation. But when we built the K through 5,
Mhm.
they
It's
looked
the
at the
bats.
wetlands and
There's bats.
Mindy Gabriel knows.
Okay,
Mindy Gabriel.
Yeah.
okay. I thought there was some sort of conservatory
Yeah.
or something like
Mindy
that
Gabriel
with
knows
that,
about
that
all
it's. I feel like I read that
I think
somewhere.
it'd be in one of those reports somewhere
You'd think so.
from the, when they
Well,
built the
Yeah,
K
It could be in a
because we
box in
did
the
look
budget.
at
It
it.
hasn't been
Bats.
seen in 40 years either.
Bats, wetlands, I remember they
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah,
yeah,
wetlands.
Wetlands, so.
There is
um,
that stuff in the
moth,
reports.
a two-eyed sloth, I don't know what else is out there.
Two-eyed
Yeah, I don't know. It's out there that, yeah, there is some restrictions on, yeah, yeah. Making
If
stuff
it's in
up.
an agriculture, if it's in a conservancy,
Yeah,
then it would be on record up at the
Right,
county and the
Correct.
extension office.
I think so.
I've never.
Just check
Who's
it.
got a guess on what year that was done?
Let's see, Devin graduated in
This before
10,
COVID.
but that land lab
conserv-
was.
the woods
It's
got
when they were,
donated.
I think when they were
Oh,
doing
man.
it, like 2019, 2020 is when I
80,
think.
I bet it was
Really?
done, I bet.
I would have guessed it was longer than that.
It was
When the
longer
woods
than
got
that.
donated?
70s
Oh,
or
that was
80s.
well before.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah, I mean, when was that land donated to the school?
Five of it, 56.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Steve
thinking
Boyer would
70s.
know.
We traded the land when we built the high school with Reuters, but that didn't include, those woods have been there forever.
Mm.
I mean, they were there when I was in high school, so. I don't
Well,
know.
As part of the school property, like, I mean,
Believe so, because we used to have tennis courts out there.
yeah.
There was a
I know where that
softball
was.
field
That
and
was
tennis
back-
courts
yeah, I
right
know where
by
those
those
were.
woods.
By the treatment plant that used to be out there too.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have thought about, is it part of the school or not, because we
Right.
wouldn't have gone into the woods.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it would have been in the
Remember?
70s, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, one of the older superintendents, Sensman used to live over on this property. I could see that he could have donated that because he was a past superintendent who owned where that house used to be. And the whole lot, a long time ago. And I could see that.
All I know is there was a sign out there when I first started here. It's deteriorated and
Yeah.
was almost on its way out when I
Studebaker.
started. It was the Studebaker family. Somebody,
Yeah.
the Studebaker
Barbara
name was
Studebaker
on it.
my
So,
English teacher.
Mrs.
We
Arnold.
might want to do
Yeah,
some digging into
that's
that and find out what that is allowed to. The last slide that they had on here was next steps. OFCC finalizes their student enrollment projection for comparison. The team creates multiple options for possible paths forward based on enrollment projections. FMD will develop the master plan, include future locally funded academic and athletic upgrades. So all of the LFIs would be included in all that. And then review the options with the school district, including educational impacts. So that's kind of where, like, what they've done so far. With all the information that they have, they're waiting on the OFCC, and then they will start creating multiple options going forward based upon internal conversations with the Board of Education and things of that nature of what potential plans would be, what their recommendations are. Do we build a 9-12? Do we do an intermediate? Do we do a primaries? Like any of the options based upon what our enrollment projections are. That's what they're, which develops our master plan.
So they
moving
not
forward.
started developing the new one yet?
Not until they get all of the data, which the data is finally starting to come together. And once they have all of that, I think once they have the OSFCC's enrollment projection for comparison to their own study, and they can take both of those, then they'll start
And
doing
that
the
one's
master
done,
planning.
right? They just gotta share that now, right?
What's that?
That's done now, right? You said, oh,
OFCC's, the study itself is not done, but they have the information that they need to complete the
Okay,
study. So
okay.
we should be getting that soon. We're just waiting on that information from the OFCC. But FMD's enrollment study with Shared Service Alliance, they partnered with Shared Service Alliance to do the enrollment study. That's what they shared with us.
okay. Once,
That's this.
once they have all those numbers, like, do they have a timeline of how long they think it'll take to create that?
I don't know that they gave hard and fast, but
They don't act like it
Trying to
take
nail-
long.
not long.
But
Like I would assume within a couple of months, if at the latest.
Okay.
So
So is the current master plan being looked at, use it all, or is that being treated as pretty much void and null?
the one back from 2017, 18,
Well, somebody said that
19.
we're in year 6 of the current master plan, the last meeting. So I'd asked about that the last.
Well,
meeting.
So that goes back
Maybe
to the
change
master
that.
plan when we were building the
When
elementary,
we-
there was.
When we
one of
joined the
those.
ELPP, we had to have a master plan.
But now that we're going back in, so another thing that was brought up was the fact that we are. Our funding will be available to us. They said that on Monday.
Yeah, which
The
I told you guys ages ago, that's how it was supposed to work. that
Right.
We would get that money to
Right.
start the next project.
And that hadn't been happening and. But now there is language or something being presented from a state standpoint that is going to allow us to have immediate access to that help money, that $23 million credit, which puts us back to the front of the line for the 80-20, which means we could pretty much build now.
So have we
once
gotten
all
the
of
other
that
reimbursement?
processes. What's that?
The other, because we were still waiting for a reimbursement from the other building, right? From.
That is the
That's
L
what-
credit.
that is it?
That's the
Okay.
23
Okay.
million, yes.
Okay.
It's not like
Which
they're not writing us a check.
It's not a $23 million
They're not saying,
check.
"Here's
that they're getting.
23 million,
It's a
do."
credit, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's like a rebate.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll draw from the credit,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, it should actually be a check.
It will
Because
be.
we.
It will not
funded-
be.
it's
It will not be.
it's not.
So do they reimburse already for the other building if it wasn't? Sorry, I'm trying to connect all the dots that have been out there.
But there's a problem with that because we fronted all of the money. So that was supposed to be money back to us.
It's another.
If the project was done and we were building no more and we were not needing another facility, probably. But the fact that we need to go back into OFCC and receive
We're
more
already
state
in it. We
money,
don't go back into it.
we go back to the front of the line so that we are in line for a new building, which means we can draw from that 23 million. That is a credit towards whatever we end up building. I don't know what the total number is. The number 80 was thrown out. I don't know if that's a hard and fast number, 80 million.
It is
to build
not.
new
I
facilities.
asked Val.
The funding that we're allowed though is based off of the OFCC enrollment projections, isn't it?
Correct.
There's a certain number that they give us, so it
Yes.
won't necessarily be. 'Cause that's what kind of bit us on the last one is, well, we can get, this is what your enrollment numbers are gonna be, even though we knew it was gonna be higher than that. That's all the money.
Right.
Yeah, they'll give us a certain. set
Based on-
amount
based on
that.
what you're
Now,
building. It's
if
a
we want
per square
something more,
footage.
we've
cost.
got to pay the extra.
Yes.
That's what.
That's
it's
where
over and
you're-
above
And
what
that's
we
what we
have to
did for the
pay.
K-5.
Yes.
But we should get part of that back. We should get that 80% back from that because when they redo the numbers, if they come out higher than what they projected for K-5, then we should get more of that back.
Another clarification,
Mhm.
sorry, a lot of questions.
Fine.
So if it's like a credit on there, if we start building and we say, okay, here's an invoice for $50,000, do we submit it to them and they pay it? Or we have to pay it and then we say, hey, we paid this, now you need to give us this money?
It's a great question.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I haven't gotten
Guessing
that.
reimbursement.
That's what I've been
Yeah.
told. That's what
I
I've
would
been told.
guess.
It's a reimbursement, what I've been
We have
told.
to pay it.
I, yeah.
Sorry, I'm like, there's
Yep.
a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense and I'm
Yep.
trying to
Yep.
see if I'm just not connecting the dots or if it just, they don't know what they're talking about on the other end. No, trust me, I get it, I get it.
So the other question I had that I didn't ask, well, I probably didn't think of it yesterday or Monday. So when they redo the numbers. Well, let me think about that
The
question.
enrollment numbers.
Yeah, so when they redo the numbers, the OFCC did 10 years out.
Mhm.
So that would have been till 2030 or 2031. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember what the end was. So now that Carriage Trails is gonna build, they say until 2040, how does that affect it? Because we're still in the same program. I just didn't know.
Well,
how that
but
affected it.
the way that I understand it is we were out to 2031, but now that time frame, because they're redoing the enrollment study, that enrollment study is not gonna go just to 2031. It's now gonna shift
For 10 years.
for 10 years. So now we're looking
But
out to
Carriage Trails is
2030.
going 15.
Right, but they.
Is it 10 years from today or 10 years from the 2030? That's kind of what my question.
From the 2031? I don't know, it's a
Yeah, I
good
don't
question.
know.
I don't know if it's from 2026, which is when it'll be done,
Right,
to 2036, which gets us close to 2040.
right.
But it does, that timeline of enrollment study, which will guide us in how much building or how much facility we can build, which tells us how much of the 80-20. Like it gives us those numbers, you know, we can only build so much per square footage that's co-funded, and then anything above and beyond that, 80% of that we have to cover. But yes, I believe that enrollment study changes and shifts the timeline up to I believe it's from today to for 10 years. So it'll push us out to 2036, not
But they won't,
40, but
they won't take into account anything that's not there currently.
correct. They didn't last time either.
Well, that they know what.
Not officially, I don't think.
They took into account Carriage Trails 1.0 because, well, it was like halfway done at the time.
It was already
So,
started.
so we got part of that in our, they do a 10-year look back,
Right.
which hurt us because the first.
But
4
now
or
the
5 of that
10-year look back could
includes
help
that.
us. Now
Right,
it
it'll
will
help
include
us
the
now,
whole
but
thing.
it didn't at the time. I'm just
Yeah,
saying it
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
at the time.
Yes, correct. I remember hearing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, so that didn't help us at the time, but we told them Carriage Trails 2.0 is coming, but they would not consider that because it hadn't been annexed, there was no plans, but
Yeah.
now there's plans on the books. The annexation has gone through, you know, they say they're gonna build this many homes, so.
And
that's why I'm
they
asking
heard that. Valerie from the OFCC, FMD, they were all here to
Yeah.
hear Kiefler say all
Right.
of that, which was a good thing.
But
So-
that's why I'm asking that question. Is it only gonna go 10 years from now, or is it? Because if the CT 2.0 is going beyond that time frame, and they're doing 100 houses a year for the last 5 years, and it doesn't include
Yeah.
those 5 years, that's gonna hurt us again. But I don't know, maybe Valerie now knows that, maybe they'll include it, I don't know.
So are there numbers on like kids per household? Or like how many of those houses have kids and how many kids per house? That could give us a reasonable guesstimate.
Or do we have to use the old numbers?
Yeah, we gotta use.
We should be able to figure that out from EMIS, like, we could do a snapshot, I don't know if we could do overall, but, the way that they always say the numbers is across all of the units. So there's, in Carriage Trails 1.0, it comes out to be 0.8 kid per, can't really say household per unit. Because it includes the senior, the
Yeah, yeah.
apartments, the patio
Right.
homes, whatever else they
Mhm.
built,
Mhm.
it includes all of that.
Yeah.
So, and that's why it's important to know that 40% number, and if it changes, that's what affects us probably more than.
Right, because you can
Senior living,
say,
you're not gonna get any.
if you consider
Right,
just
to
single,
the
if you
houses, if
just
you-
consider
if-
single family homes, there may be 3 kids per household when you just consider that, but when you
Right.
spread those 3 per unit out
Right.
over 1,400 units,
Right.
Now you're talking 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 per unit because 20% of them
So-
are senior living.
So if we use that
80% of them
number
are
times the 1480,
0.0, 0.8,
yeah,
yeah,
we got
What's it?
1184.
Right.
1184.
And
So
that's
another
why when we
1,000
looked at those
kids.
numbers last time, I said it's probably gonna be more like 1,000 to 1,200 kids by the time they're done.
Yeah.
Because that fits with that number.
That's 1184 over 30 years, all right, or 15
15
years,
years.
15 years,
Right.
2040.
Well, approximately.
If it stays 15
Right.
years.
Yeah.
There's
And
so
if it
many
stays,
variables
if
there, yeah.
it stays at 40%.
Yeah,
If
Yeah,
they-
right.
Yeah. you
And if
got
it stays at 5 per
that
acre and not up
40%
to 7
flexible, you
or,
said.
yeah.
Well, and there's
For
other
the rest of the
considerations, like when you talk about the apartments and say, you probably don't get as many kids from apartments, but if nobody can afford a $500,000.
yeah, oh yeah,
They're gonna
things
be
are
renting
gonna
that
change.
apartment and having their kids in there, so that could produce more.
The only
kids.
guarantee is it's gonna be inaccurate.
Exactly.
Well, true.
Exactly.
The only accuracy is
Everything
when
is
it's
gonna-
inaccurate.
I mean, look how
That's
much
it.
has
I mean,
changed in the
that's
last
it. I
5
mean,
years.
Yeah.
COVID has
It's
changed
fluid.
everything.
It's gonna change.
Yeah.
Well, and the way that people live and they choose to do things and what they build or what they don't build and what they want to care for. and
I mean,
what
we're
they don't
talking
wanna care
15
for.
years, we're only concentrating on one development.
Yeah.
Essentially, we don't know, there might be another one.
Mhm.
We don't have any ways of stopping.
Mm,
Well, we are, but we don't yet.
It's not going well, but
There's a panic button.
yeah.
I'm just
I'm
saying how
almost
much is,
there.
Yeah,
look how much has changed since 08 to now.
yeah,
How much is
Yes.
gonna be another
I'm saying, just look at 14.
That's
to now,
17
what
years.
came.
yeah.
16, yeah, 17 years, it's gonna change
Yeah,
drastically.
doubled.
My bet is that though, if they're looking at 121 single family homes, they may be projecting on the apartments or condo living. They may be waiting to see how it goes with what they've got planned along Executive and elsewhere throughout the city, just to see how well those are received and
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
attacked, and they may go ahead and change up their plans to make what they've said will be.
Which goes back to
Apartments.
Keithler saying that he wants to work together. He wants to come and give us at least like, obviously he's a developer. He's there to make money. He's got to do what he needs to do on his end, but the communication piece is the piece that has been, nobody's been talking to each other.
Yeah, the
Right.
closest guarantee we have, which
Yes.
isn't even a guarantee, is the 121,
Yes.
Right.
As of today, they're building 121 homes,
maybe, right?
maybe.
They may sell 3 of those and
Right.
stop.
Or they may turn it into 240.
They could. I doubt that. I mean, it's pretty well divided already.
Hmm,
Or maybe the next phase go up to
Yeah.
120
Yeah.
instead of the 50,
Exactly.
like you said, yeah.
If they're selling.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand those numbers, because I have the same numbers you have, but at one point, I swear I heard him say he was projecting 50 to 100 lots, single family next year. But then he said 50 for next year. So I didn't.
I started
Catch
with
that.
that too, but then he went on the
On the- down the list,
121, and
yeah.
then I think he meant like 50 to 100 on the next years after that. So then that's why he broke down the 50, 50, 50, 54,
Yeah.
100, 100, 100, but depending on how that 121 goes, I could see where
Yeah, if he sells
they could
those,
bump those up.
if those are all
to
sold by July,
100,
he's gonna sell another 100.
And 100 the next year, yeah, so that's why,
At
you know,
550.
I think that's why he says the plan right now is
Slot premiums.
what they're looking at,
Yeah, exactly.
but at least we got an idea, you know, what I
know
mean?
what the
I honestly
builders-
think we've hit that
Yeah.
already. I think we're gonna start.
I think if they sell those, I think he's gonna bump it
I
up
mean,
to
that's just
100, 100.
just a taste in the,
Yeah.
taste in
Yeah.
the soup of the spoon, but
But it depending also which builders he's utilizing, whether it's Ryan, Fisher, D.R. Horton, even Arbor, if they're rolling in there. D.R. Horton's got their own issues right now, so who knows where they're going to go. But Ryan and Inverness, they are clamoring for more lots to build on.
Mhm.
They're pushing hard.
They also.
So-
They
have
do
a-
the higher end houses too?
No,
Okay, I don't mean crap built, I'm just saying, do they sell the higher?
shit boxes.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
but I mean, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
the
I know.
higher 300s and then the 450s and higher.
The stuff they've got in Springboro,
I'm trying to be, I gotta be politically correct.
well,
Too late for you, Mona.
I know.
Done said it.
Done it, but
As I say, you've done said it.
it's nothing that the building inspectors don't call them, but it's just,
That's true.
I think they're looking more at what the house plans they've got, that they're looking for 2.0 are comparable to what they're doing in Springboro and Warren County.
Okay,
So that's where they're bringing the
Okay.
higher dollar homes up. So you're looking at the 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, full basements. So they're not going to the smaller, 3-bed, 2 baths. They'll sprinkle some of those in, but they're pulling what they've done in Warren County and Elbrook, Sugar Creek area up to this area.
Well, I don't know the status of this either, but there are some sewer and water issues that, I don't have the exact dates, but they're in the
Tri-Cities
Tri-Cities
wastewater.
wastewater. And so they share that between the 3 of them, and Huber's pretty much at their capacity. So they're getting bigger lines installed, but I don't know what the
They're on the
dates.
EPA watch list right now.
But I don't know the schedule for getting those, because that might dictate how many they
That's
can
true, yeah.
start with too.
Cause they're already over capacity and their
really
infrastructure is so bad in the southern portion of the city that they've got to get that taken care of, which is gonna eat up a lot of their funding for their wastewater, their water and sewer utility money.
I don't know how close they'll stick to this schedule. I was kind of surprised to hear that they didn't so, because.
Maybe that's why I didn't-
This is where I used to go fishing.
That brings up another point, is the fact that police protection is stretched extremely thin for the
That's
city.
everywhere, yeah.
But for the city, because they put a hiring freeze on the police department until 2028. So
So once they get the tax money, they'll hire more cops.
What the property and income taxes going on.
Hopefully there's plenty of firefighters, right?
It will come back. in
Yeah,
other
lots
ways.
I know,
I'm for that. They're
20% sales tax to cover for it.
right. On these homes, though, they're doing that CRA and NRA, no, not NRA, sorry. NCA,
yeah.
NCA and
NCAA
CRA,
authority.
they're gonna tax the heck out of 2.0
Mhm.
to build a new fire station.
And the new music.
Yeah, and now the money that they were gonna give us for the
Concert
school
venue.
has been redirected to. a
You mean through the
new-
property taxes they're going to?
Anything they can.
Yeah.
They will create, the CRA has a board that they can put any kind of tax they want on the community
And that's through Miami or through Huber?
through Huber.
Wow.
Through Huber. So they're gonna make those guys pay basically Huber level taxes instead of Miami County level. So Carriage Trails 1.0 won't get hit with it, but 2.0 will.
And then the NCA is gonna be interesting to see how that. goes through.
No.
I did want to note one other thing, just because it was pertinent to our previous conversations was, and I think it came up with MFD, but it might have been when they were both standing up there, but Jackie did ask and they did confirm that some of the funding could be used for renovations or new buildings, new structure.
Or demolition,
I'm sorry.
or demolition.
Oh, yes.
Demolition.
Yeah, we have nothing.
I was trying to think.
to demolish right now, because we're.
No, but after the fact.
Yeah,
We can't use all those buildings for
right,
for
right.
educational space.
Right.
We either let them crumble or we have to do something.
Yeah.
Needless to say, you can strike 5B off of there. All of that facilities advocacy portfolio for exceptional needs and advocating for funding, and please give us our money earlier. It's done.
You did a good job. You did a good job putting together what you did, but yeah, we don't.
Through that though, so FMD shared that, like, cause I had been including Tim in that for revisions and what their thoughts were, and I think that was shared with Valerie and the OCC, and I think through our discussions and our situation and knowing where we were with our growth, I think some of the decisions and the language that they put together, not that we were the reason for it, but I think some of our situation, that there are others in our same situation, just not maybe as dire as ours, it influenced some of that a little bit, so. It was,
Well, that's.
we don't have to put the portfolio together anymore. I'm not gonna throw it away, I'm gonna
I was
save
gonna
it,
say,
just
got
in
a lot
case
of
we
work
need
in
it. But we don't have to review it, we don't have to move forward with any of that just yet, so I think that can be put on hold right now.
Well, I was wondering if, when you said earlier, and I was gonna come back to that, when you said the paperwork had been submitted, I was gonna ask you, did you,
Yeah.
turn your,
Not officially, but I had shared the draft portfolio
that's good.
with FMD for them to review it and just recommendations on their part for advocacy for our situation. And
Okay.
I think that just from that standpoint, I think some of the content was used as talking points.
Yeah.
To help with what was
That's
going
perfect.
on, so.
Yeah. And really, that was the word, I mean, trying to get
Yeah.
that message out
Yes.
and
absolutely.
to everybody who needed to know that. So
Right,
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. thanks.
but we don't have to, it can come off of the agenda for now, we don't have to look at it or talk about it
Keep
immediately.
that on the shelf.
It is in Google Drive,
That's
the
good.
digital shelf, frame it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, because you
Mhm.
did put time and effort into it, right? So, yeah, thank you. So if we move to C. Obviously, there's still some things, others are collecting information on behalf of the momentum that's behind them now. But I think we still have, some of these things are probably still considered partial. Some are to be more defined, I would say. And I think that'll help us with the long-term school building options, maybe the new building locations, short-term building options. I think what else? Two-story, whether it'll be a two-story building, cost of a building, and what our strategic plan looks. Those are still coming along. Actually, I think all those were mostly talked about. I thought it was a good question also that another board member asked. I should just can't went out my brain. What did Rachel ask about? Related to, she had a really good, sorry, apologize, I thought of it and I was leading up to it and then apologize, to think about that. I just wanted to
Talk about, but I can't think of it either.
Well, I can't remember, so I apologize. You guys, to keep me honest, because you were there.
I can't remember either.
I can't, yeah, apologize, I can't remember. I'll have to go back and watch it. If I think of it, I'll bring it back up again. Sorry about that.
Oh.
There's something about high school, middle school. Oh, I know. She
you
asked about, this is what caught my eye over here, the survey. She asked, when's the right time to get the public involved or, get the community members
Mhm.
to, share what, they think some of the needs are, what they think the priorities are. I thought that was a good question to ask of them at the time. And I think Mr. Nutter has a plan for that. I think we're waiting for a little more information so he can have it all together to be able to share that with everybody in one full package. So they have everything they need to kind of have some consideration of what options they would like moving forward. So it sounds like that. It wouldn't be a survey, it'd be more like a town hall, but that's what the word survey reminded me
And they
of.
talked about having it narrowed down instead of just randomly with not having all the information
Yeah.
you need, having something and asking
Yeah.
everybody to come, everybody's gonna get
That way they have the
50
cost and
different,
all
million
those
different
things you gotta
opinions.
do
So, yeah,
details.
they said to get it a little more narrowed before you went to that
Yeah.
Option
point.
A, option
Yeah,
B, option
exactly.
C.
Yeah, yeah.
And cost, and this is
Yeah,
what this would cost,
because-
this is what that would cost.
Yeah.
So that does look like it's still like a little further down as well.
Mhm.
unless, yeah.
And when-
Unless,
And when we say further, I'm saying like, I'm thinking probably within the next 6 to 8 months.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We're running out of time to build.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah. And that particular piece of it may be closer to the next 3, in the next 3 or 4 months would be my guess. Like, we need to get to a point where February, we get the rubber stamp of our 80/20 and getting that confirmed. And then we're looking at June with the funds being released, like, they talked about all of that on Monday of that time frame of.
If you're gonna do a town hall, it almost seems like it needs to be a phased over with several town halls. Where you say, this is what we propose, this is what ideas, comments, suggestions, and then assimilate all that together, go over it. Have another one to say, we've taken into consideration this, just sort of molding and shaping.
I'm not sure that that's the route that they were going with it though, correct? It's more of a working with FMD and the master facility planning and all that kind of stuff, and then saying, here are your 3 best. The Board of Education,
It's
Mr.
the
Nutter
usual
and
telling the
FMD.
community what they want.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think their point was, though, if you start in the beginning and you don't have any known facts and you get all these people here,
Yeah.
you're gonna get
Yeah.
8 million different
True.
ideas, so you gotta.
But
You gotta narrow it down.
Because
so
of this-
much.
when we started this facilities committee, that's one of the reasons we started it.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good input. I
Right.
mean, you were there back then. There was a lot of good ideas about, especially cost-effective ideas, because a lot of people who are in the industry know, like, like the hub and spoke. All the ideas, there was a lot of ideas discussed that get lost when you have somebody doing it on your behalf. So, and that's what's happening here. FMD has been hired to do it on behalf of this facilities committee. So,
As a professional consulting firm who does this for a living and makes millions of dollars doing it. They do it all the time, all over the place.
Are
What
they
they're-
the same people that were used last time?
No.
no,
FMD is an educational consulting firm.
It's what?
They are an educational consulting firm. So they come in, they take all the data, they look at the data and they make decisions based upon what the data says, not what the feelings are. They take the emotion out of it.
Here's my other question, is it just one lump fee that we already know, or do you pay every month?
What do you
Sorry,
mean?
I'm just thinking like, are they being strategic and pushing stuff out to get more, or is it like, here's our total?
Or was
fee
it
for
drawn
this?
out the payment?
Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
what the fee structure, I don't know what the contract with them is. I don't know that part.
yeah. And they do have that architectural piece to their name too, because I know they've designed fire stations, city municipal buildings and things. So they do have a little bit of a general portfolio with their architect piece of that as well. But it is different. It is a different group completely than we used last time. Yeah.
The last, was it Levin Porter who did the master facility
no,
plan?
it was,
Richly.
Richly.
Garmin Miller.
Richly?
No,
Those
Garmin
are-
Miller. was
no,
the
Garmin was
architect.
They were the
architect.
architect, yeah.
Right. Before that, Richley was the one that gave 25 different options of where stuff could be planted.
But that was the 2017.
No,
It might have been Levin Porter
It was,
then.
it was when I came in 2020, Levin Porter was at board meetings giving us the
no,
master
yeah, you're
facility
right,
plan
you're right, yeah,
for the elementary
Yeah,
stadium,
right.
that.
yeah, that's right.
Richly may have been prior to that in 15, 16 leading
Yeah.
up to this.
Yeah.
That may have been Richly.
Yeah.
But
So how much input would we have? Because like, I went to some of those meetings before for the last one. And the one thing that I noticed is like, they were controlling the meeting
Mhm.
and they were making all the decisions. And nobody was going, it's like, it was weird because I honestly had no idea that the lady running the meeting was their person instead of our people. For half the meeting, I'm sitting there and I'm just like, why is this lady running this meeting and telling everybody what's gonna happen and what isn't gonna happen when it's our school? And I understand to a certain extent, their knowledge is gonna give, it's like, hey, this is better, that's better, this is better. It's like, I get that, but there's also a point where we really should be deciding we want this, we want that, we want this, we want that. You figure out how to put it together and you tell me why this is good or not good.
Well, I do know, and part of that, and Julie can attest to this, Damon can too, because, and this got into more of the construction side. I mean, teachers were brought in, right? There was things that were decided.
Some teachers, not all.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So I don't know that it was just, you know what I mean? I don't know that they. There was
Yeah.
some, definitely some, I just remember the meetings
Yeah.
that we had were,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, wasn't all the teachers, but yeah, some of the
Yeah.
teachers.
But
And I do
most of
remember.
us were.
I do remember the meetings, some of the meetings you're talking about, because I think even in the talks at that time was, what are we building? Are we building a K-5? I mean, some of those conversations, I think the driving force, what I remember from community was what we ended up building. I think, I mean, some of the meetings that I remember in there was a K through, because I remember sixth grade was talked about. Well, we know a sixth grade. Nobody wanted sixth grade, you know, we built like
Yeah.
K
Right.
through 5. So
Right.
I do remember that and,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, cause
some
we
of those
needed
meetings.
K-5, yeah.
Yeah,
because-
correct. But I'm
yeah.
just saying in the beginning,
Right, yeah, some of
it
it
was
has to
community,
start-
town hall.
Yeah,
And they were, you know, they
Yeah.
were asking the community, you know, I think they had something for everybody to fill out.
yeah,
You
there
know,
were some
so,
surveys and
yeah.
stuff.
correct. So,
But I agree with her, and that's what I was trying to say when I said FMD's been hired to take it over from the facilities committee and from the community, because what you're gonna get back is what they're suggesting, then we don't have the input. So,
But I don't know that they're necessarily going to be suggesting this is what your school should look like. It's, these are what the numbers say. We think you should build a 912. We know that you need a standalone auditorium because that's something that we know that you need, a performing arts center. We know that you need an athletic complex. We know that you need X, Y, and Z, and this is the general idea. So here's option A for 912, or
What's a 912? Where you keep?
High school.
high school,
High school.
ninth grade through
Right.
12th grade high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freshman.
Sorry, that's, yeah. So you build, and I'm not saying that's what we're doing, but I think that's what they're going to do. Is here are 4 or 5 different
Scenarios.
scenarios that could play out. You
Make the
guys now
most
pick
sense.
those scenarios. What makes the most sense that you guys want to see based upon LFIs and all the additional things that aren't going to be funded? How does that look? How does all of that play into it? But here's what the overall master layout structure can be. You should put the school here. You have future schools here, future athletic facilities here, things of that nature. Like these are the options of that. Then the details, and once we pick whatever our master plan is going to be, that's when the teachers in the community and what does it look like? What are we actually going to build? Which I don't know that step happened the last time is what I'm hearing. It was a community survey that didn't really get utilized very much.
I feel like almost they.
Was that the
did their
survey that
the
only-
problem was
and
exactly what she
decided,
said. Yeah,
And
the-
they just, it's like, okay, well, this is a high spot on this land, so this is the best place to put that building.
well, I'm sure
Not
that has to
the-
do with the
Some of it
limestone.
has to do with
Yeah.
the limestone and.
we moved tons of dirt
Yeah.
anyhow.
I can't even tell you.
And the
'cause it was all
electricity,
on
we
my-
couldn't put it in the back because you're gonna have to run this. We had to do that anyhow. And they should have known those things. They should have known. But I'm with you. When she took over, that was it. That was the end of, you know.
And
Was
she
that
being
Levin
who you
Porter?
talking about? Who was
No,
that?
It was Garmin Miller. That's
Oh.
the lady I think you're talking about, Laura.
I don't, yeah, because,
Okay.
I mean, it's like you go in there and it was, well, we're gonna make a decision on what kind of material we're gonna use.
So once
And
the
then it was
architect
like,
gets involved,
We're
Is-
gonna put in
Yeah,
this one
'cause-
and that one.
Garmin Miller was the architect.
Mhm.
So FMD is not the architect. FMD is the master.
But now
I
we,
get that,
now we
but
just
it's
back
still
that
a
up from
similar
here to
thing.
here of somebody taking over.
But who did the master plan prior to Garmin Miller coming in and what was their role and were you guys satisfied with what Garmin Miller or with what the master planning company did?
Well, there wasn't much
Would
to
you-
the master plan.
Okay, so the question is like with what we have with the elementary building. That was from the master plan, right? This is a decision
The
based on
master
what they
plan said
had.
we're
I'm
building a
not
K
talking
five.
about like the size of it, or I'm talking about where it is, how they design, all those things that you're
Mhm.
saying that the FMD would do.
No,
No,
that's
like,
what, that's the architect.
That's the
well,
architect.
they're designing the building, but they're not saying it's gonna be over here. And we're gonna put this, this part's gonna go this way and this part that. that's before the building. You know, it's like,
Right.
but there was a lot of decisions made prior to the architect and after the architect that I would say, you look back on it and you look at that building and where it is and how it was set up and all this stuff, it's like,
That was
are-
Richley, and what I was told was there was 20 beds.
Richly, I think that was before. I think he's right.
Richly was this one.
11 Porter.
11
we did
Porter is the
use.
one that did the master plan.
But the master plan was driven by the OFCC numbers,
Well,
because as you said,
Uh,
you have to have
Wait,
so
wait.
much money.
Yeah.
And we could only go out and get so much in the bond because we had to
Right.
fund it all.
Mhm.
So that, those numbers really drove the K-5, because I said we should build a high school first. Right, because look what's happening now, we're putting middle school kids in small classrooms. Whereas if we had done the high school, we'd be going the opposite way. But, you know, Brennan swore up and down, we didn't have enough money to do a high school because it does cost more. But I'm saying, well, why can't you do the partial
Shoot it 3 times
things?
more.
Because it requires different auditorium
Yeah.
and, you know, all those extra things.
Yeah.
But we had those, so we could have probably just built the building, but nobody wanted to do that. They wanted to start with the elementary. So the numbers drove the size of it. The K-5, I think, ended up because that was what the money was there for,
Right,
based on the amount we could get for the bond,
right.
because we had to fund it all.
Yeah.
And then we still added to it, millions of dollars we added to it,
Right.
you know, because prices then hit the roof and. you
Yeah.
know.
Moving money out of one side of the pride bucket to a different bucket, which is why we.
Yeah.
build
Right,
house.
well, and we cut a bunch of things.
But
Well,
we
the
needed to
field
do
house-
that because if we hadn't moved that money out of the stadium to build the field house, we wouldn't have a 5th grade wing.
I'm not sure that's what happened. I don't think we moved it out of the field house. That
From the
was-
original budget, it was,
Yeah.
cause there
Yes, it
was.
was.
yeah.
Yes, it absolutely was. It's
Yeah.
the reason why we don't have a field house out
Yeah.
there. They took $500,000 out of the stadium
Mhm.
bucket.
That's why the boosters
Yeah.
funded the lighting.
Yes.
Right, but the boosters were supposed to fund a bunch of stuff that didn't get funded too.
They don't have any
Because
money
they
either.
had to fund stuff that.
They had to have fund the
wasn't-
lighting on the
Because the
stadium.
500,000 was taken out of the
They were
stadium.
gonna go get it.
What was the lighting, like 100 grand or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The turf was all COVID money.
Yeah, the turf was COVID.
The two, yeah, that was just a chance of luck, in some ways.
That was, yeah.
So
So
COVID- because it-
Creative,
Right, it's
yeah,
left over.
Wording.
Yeah,
Wording.
creative
Wording.
wording in the, yeah, it is our rally point for evacuation. Came to safety.
Nice.
Yeah,
just in the spirit of time,
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, section D or item D. I don't think. I
Not all of that,
asked
yeah.
about Carriage Trails 1.0, didn't think about following up to see what's left.
He said it slowed down on the development and they're working on mainly, the apartments.
Yeah.
He says the next section will be apartments too. That's what he said that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, the section down by
He said there's one more.
201 is pretty well done, right?
Yeah, and he says there's another section that'll be apartments
Or
after
the new
that.
storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right where 201 meets the Carriage Trails entrance, that area.
Yeah, that's our
Yep.
apartments, yeah.
The apartments. There
There's
can't
a
be
lot of
much
them in
left to
there.
do because.
Yeah, that's what he
originally
said.
was Supposed to
Yeah.
finish up like 2 years ago.
Yeah, cause he did say, I wrote it down, he says slow down on development and D21.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, let's see. CT2, I think we got that information. Item E, the enrollment history, waiting, the site plan, that's gonna be some of those
Mhm.
options that come to us and that FMD's pulling together. G, the recommendation, priorities. That's the only question that I had last night is, because I was just wondering, they've got all this information, but how are they? I asked, were they considering, our priorities, how are they dumping that into the bucket of items to churn around as well? And I don't know that. And maybe they've kind of got that in a random way, we asked a couple of things, or I shared a couple things with the board meeting, back in October, I think it was, but, some of the priorities were that we wanted to go over look at renovations as well as new buildings or, extensions. And I hope that they'll include those. I mean, that's all we can do is we've made that recommendation. Hopefully that'll go through. We can make it again this next Monday if you want. Andy and I can take that to the board again, or if there's anything else that you guys can think of as far as priorities that we should share with the board so that Mr. Nutter and Damon can take it forward to the other groups that are working everything. Keep that on the table. If you have anything, please let me know. Like we've talked, the next and the future steps, I mean, we're still waiting. I kept thinking I heard February, April, so I think it is pretty much 6 to 8 months. Probably be definitely at this point in the year, I'm thinking, spring before really anything happens. And if things move as they are, I would bet that we wouldn't have any town halls till late spring or maybe even into the beginning of June for the start of summer. Just based on some of the timing, I think, and making sure everything's pulled together. That's just my guess. Kind of goes a little bit along with what Damon was saying. But that was my kind of takeaway, but that's just me.
Well, for the record, I still think we should be looking at maybe building some classrooms off the end of this building.
Yeah.
Because I think that we're gonna run out of space before we can get whatever new building we choose.
Yeah.
Built, because you're talking 3 years minimum for that, so if it's the middle of next year. And you've got 121 plus 50, 50, 54, so a couple hundred kids are gonna be here. In the next couple of years,
Yeah,
if the developer schedule stays.
Yeah.
The way it is.
because they can put up houses pretty quick.
Yeah, and we kind of filled in the elementary
Like
faster
blind.
than I think we thought we would. Because. I don't
You
know,
mean this elementary, or are you talking old?
the old
elementary?
elementary.
So you think February we'll have some kind of master plan?
No.
February,
So
March?
OFCC indicated that in February is when their Board of Control meeting or some sort of meeting is happening that is approving the funding structure
Mm,
to allow them to release our ELP funding,
And then that will
our ELP
drive,
credit, which puts us back to the front of the line to be able to get as we're locked into that 80-20. Now we're looking at once February hits and we know that funding's there, we're off and running with site master planning, but that's why we're doing all of this
Sure.
work now,
I-
so that
well,
when
I-
that happens, it's.
my
we're
point
ready
is,
to
I
go.
agree with Julie in
Yeah.
that, the group,
What can we do?
what can we do? But on the other hand, I don't want that to dictate I mean, this is our opportunity to make this right,
To
right?
be proactive.
Yeah.
No, this is our opportunity to make this campus
Yeah.
correct.
Oh,
Not a 1900 building and a middle school that's gonna be slowly right behind it, whatever else. We've got the money, we're in the seat with the 80-20.
Yep.
This is the time to go broke, right?
To do it
And do it right, all in for the next 20, 50 years,
Yes.
whatever.
but we don't decide that, OFCC.
I understand that. We don't decide that, but I also don't want to put on 5 rooms and then that dictates how that master plan is going to play out, money and campus wise. Right? I mean, this part of the building is not going to go away, but also we don't want to just throw 5 classrooms down there. And I understand it's not going to be that easy, but
Well, so.
I just don't think we should make any decisions but we really need to
No,
push
no.
that plan. Hey, what are our options for?
Which that could be, he said that at the meeting, that
That
could
could
be.
be, and they may say as part of our
Could
recommendation,
potentially be.
you guys build whatever building you're gonna build, but in order to, like, we're looking at the enrollment projections and what may be coming in your
Right.
middle school, we also recommend you guys adding on to the existing high school, which will become the middle school, or adding on a wing to the elementary.
Yeah.
House addition, like, that could be part of the master.
As we
plan.
say,
Yeah.
at a 10,000 foot view right now, I see
Yeah.
3 phases. An addition, a brand new school, and then possibly an elementary down there.
Right.
Right? At what K through 2 or whatever we end up doing.
The primary, yeah.
Yeah, primary down there.
Yeah. And that's what all of that data that. we're
Those three
looking at,
prongs
that's what
need
FMD
to
will come
happen.
And say, they'll say, here's what prong A, prong B, and prong C
But
look
we're
like. with
also-
3 different options.
A little bit of a side note, where does all the athletic stuff fall into this?
LFI.
Right.
It has
Yes.
nothing to do with OFCC.
No, I know that.
Unless-
I know, but
unless-
but it
unless-
has everything to do with us. So where does that fall in with us?
Unless,
They pay part of,
Cause I'll be the first one at the town hall
if they're,
bitching on the other side at us,
unless,
Yes.
unless there's plans for this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
unless.
It's embarrassing and
Yeah,
ridiculous.
unless you can tie some educational stuff into,
ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
so we have
You throw some
a,
classrooms out
Well,
into a
yeah,
field house.
but I agree. We need
It
an
becomes
auditorium. We
so
need this, you
Yeah.
know.
right,
But it still fits in the total number,
Yes,
sure,
so.
yeah.
correct.
Can you explain about I don't know what you mean by go to the front of the line. We're already in the program. This has been my problem all
Our-
along. I
our-
keep saying we're already in it.
We
so
are,
it's-
we are in it, but we are not able to draw additional funds
Until that money.
until the ELP money comes. But once the ELP money comes, they're releasing that ELP credit, which means we can draw additional funding from OFCC.
Right, and that's how it's always been. The program we're in, they always said it would be 7 or 8 years. before
That
we got
7
any
to 8
money.
years has turned into in 2 months.
Right, so it's already been like 5 or 6.
It has expedited, the whole advocacy portfolio was to push us back
Right.
to the front of the line so that we get that ELP credit,
Who's in
so
front
that
of
we
us?
can start again. What's that?
Who's in front of us?
You know, good thing about.
Nobody.
I mean, we better be at the very front,
Yeah,
right?
that's the point. We
We
are
are.
the
We
number
are.
one fastest growing school district in the
Right.
state of Ohio.
Yeah.
We need to be, we're the ones driving this, right?
And
And
believe
that's
it when we
where
see it though, kind of thing,
it's,
right?
Yes.
we may not see it before, we may have not seen that credit,
Okay.
access to that credit until 28, 29, 30, whatever that year, that time frame was.
But our clock has now.
Our clock has
reset.
turned to February. If they say yes in February and then the funding comes available in June, I think is what they said. Like, once it passes,
And if they don't,
and it's not, it's
Yeah.
anticipated, highly anticipated, but it still does have to pass.
Right.
If and when it passes in February, that funding becomes available in June, we need to be ready to have shovels in the ground by October or November.
Right, so back to the adding on. So this is my understanding, is that even if we spend our own money doing that today, like if we started today, got a design,
Yeah.
put some shovels in the ground, that square footage would be eligible for future money, the future 80%, because it's classroom.
we'll get reimbursed.
Yes, just like,
A credit or,
It would come out of that 23 million credit, right?
mm, it would just become part of the big picture of included in the square feet.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
I
that
see, I
20
get
that
what you're saying.
23 million
What
only
the-
doesn't
the-
include the LFI we put into the K through 5.
It would be included in the total amount of square footage that the
Once they
OFCC, we are eligible to receive credit for.
Yes,
Yeah. I
once
can
they
check that.
redo the numbers, just like we put
Gotcha.
LFI money in the K through 5 that is not in that 23 million. But if they redo the numbers, we should get 80% of that money back that we,
So let me ask you this, if we were to do an addition to the high school now without recommendation from FMD and OFCC, with all that stuff. And that takes away square footage from another facility that we could potentially build, and now we're building another building that's still not big enough.
that was my point.
About that.
That was my
That's
point
like,
5 minutes
if
ago.
we put square
I
footage
don't wanna shoot
here,
ourselves
it
in the
takes
foot.
away from, it's shooting ourselves in the foot from a future building.
well, potentially, I agree with you.
It could,
But the thing is,
Yeah.
what you're saying then is that this school is big enough for whatever we plan, right? So, I mean, it's the same.
It
as
can be
like-
implied, but that's not what I was saying, but I understand your point. Yeah,
I mean, the
it-
square
it's-
footage won't go to waste no matter what, right? It just might be
Yes.
in a bad location, but that.
correct. I think that,
hap-
but that's the point. We need to.
It might be in the wrong
It could happen
location.
Anyhow, because these
Yeah.
numbers that they're gonna project, as he said, they're not gonna be right.
Right.
You're gonna tell me there's gonna be exactly this many 6th graders, this many 7th graders, no, that's not gonna work,
Right.
right? Just like now, we had to move 5th grade
Oh, yeah,
back
right.
over here, which we knew was gonna happen.
right.
And in fact, it may have taken a year longer, because we thought it would happen probably the next year.
Right.
Well,
Well, the
COVID
the other
hit
thing that we gotta remember about all this is we're still in the situation we were 5 years ago of not going to the community for a bond to do any of this.
And we
right?
should not be going for a bond.
Right.
Because we've already got that bond. And that's why the money.
That's what I'm saying. There's no additional money. We're still in that. We're still sticking to that no additional money from
Right.
the community as of now.
I think that's when we need to see the bigger picture
Correct.
and know what it's gonna cost, cause there's gonna be a decent amount of LFI in there.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
We're gonna have to figure out where that's gonna come from.
And there's ways to, again, with that LFI space, whether it's an athletic complex or an auditorium or a performing arts center or whatever it may be, there are ways to develop those facilities to include classroom space that allows a portion of that facility to be co-funded. So even with an athletic facility that's extra courts and a wrestling room and meeting rooms and coaches, like you can use some of that space for classrooms that are then allowed, because they have classrooms in them, then that space can be co-funded.
Yep.
If you turn it into educational space.
So then how do you make so that's the same thing as putting it out here though, right? Now you're gonna be in a different building and what kind of classrooms
It
are in there?
depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it.
But it's the
depends.
same point.
But
I'm just saying it's the same point.
Your
again.
auditoriums and your performing arts centers are usually attached to the main
Right.
structure anyway.
Mhm.
And even in some cases, athletic complexes can be. And
Yes.
that's, from that standpoint, how we structure this next facility. If it's going to be a high school, we don't need a high school and then 150 yards away, an athletic, or a performing arts center. It needs to be connected, but also able to be separated from the academic portion.
Right.
So,
Agreed.
because this here, for the last 5 years, has been an absolute
Nightmare.
nightmare
I agree.
managing athletic events. It's
Train.
awful.
Train wreck.
The way that it's set up, it's absolutely terrible. I mean, athletic trainer sitting right here. How can you privately treat athletes on a game day?
No.
You can't do it. It's a privacy issue. It's a safety issue. I mean, it is. And people have full access to
Mhm.
our academic wings. Gates are not. There's back ways and the kids
Oh,
find them.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
There are hidden doors and hidden pathways that the
Mhm.
kids know about, and there's just no way to keep people out of that. So when we do this, it needs to be very well thought out and very well planned of how that happens.
Right, so back to my
Yeah.
history, my advocating for adding on is, I don't wanna be in a position where we get trailers. Because that's what's gonna happen if we take till next year and then 3 years on top of that. What do we do with those kids that are coming during those 3 years? Plus a whole nother year is just ticked off, so now we're talking 4 years
Mhm.
where we're getting kids in. And I mean, luckily this year we didn't, because the
Right.
delay of Carriage Trails
So-
2.0, but.
Well, and that's our enrollment. If you look at that enrollment study, the enrollment this year actually went down.
Right.
So
I think if we continue that trend, we may be all right.
that's not what they're projecting.
But
This year
right.
went down, but then they're projecting, we're looking at
But if we project,
100 kids.
I'm not sure,
Yeah.
I'm not sure we can't get away from trailers at this point,
Cause even
Even if we
adding
start an
even if we
add-on.
Started now to add on, you're still not.
right?
Well, so how long does it take to add on? It doesn't take 3 years.
Takes a year to 2.
How long does it take to put up a trailer? You just did that a couple years ago.
Jeez.
Longer to
So-
put it up
Summer,
than take
a
it down. A
summer, a
summer,
summer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Summer.
Well,
Summer.
Now, granted, that's just taking a stack of hundreds and lighting them on fire. I get that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
But
Just lighting money
so
on
it
fire.
takes
It's a case of hundreds.
So let's,
Yeah.
let's say it took a year, but we might be in a position where, so next year,
We'll not have it built in a year, in addition. There's no way.
Mm.
Steel building, whatever, no way. Absolutely.
Permits,
See,
drawings.
we've been 6 months sitting here talking about this.
I know, I
7,
said this 6 months ago.
yeah.
Keep saying.
We might have had it done in a year from now if we just start, yeah.
But,
Permits,
but
drawings.
yes,
So
yes,
even if
we
it
have
takes
been.
2 years,
Bidding.
would we not be in a
Have to
better
bid.
position then?
I don't know.
If we're.
We only have,
If we're building by this time next year, we'll be in 2029.
right, that's what I'm thinking.
And we're gonna have trailers. We will have trailers.
Maybe, but that's what I'm
Maybe,
saying.
maybe not.
If we continue
Depends on
trending,
where the
I honestly don't
numbers
think the economy is gonna take off anytime soon. And this house this 2.0 is gonna stall out a little bit. But that's just,
So-
that's,
But then
again, that's just,
addition won't be ready for next year, which then you're
That's-
not gonna have the addition ready until 2028, and then by 2029, we got a new building.
It depends on where the
You're really
numbers
talking
come
a year.
too.
we know 27's good.
And when and
Yeah.
where they.
At least Nutter said that
Yeah, he said that.
several meetings ago. We're good for next year,
Yes.
26, 27.
Yep.
So we have to be thinking 27, 28 year,
So the
and
economy.
hopefully 29.
And they're.
And again, I'm just
predicting-
setting my
they're
finger in the air, right? I
Between
mean,
now and 2020, FY 28, so the 27, 28 school year. We will, from now to then, they're estimating 200 more kids.
And that depends on where they're at too. Because there's room to grow some places.
And not others.
It just depends.
So in February,
How many more closets can?
Well, something on, like on a smaller.
Yeah.
Portion that we talked about, Eric and I are gonna go to the church, West Charleston, and then, you know what I mean, that's, I don't, you know, I'm not saying that that's a for sure thing, but that's.
Right.
You know, frees up some,
Pick up a little room.
or a closet.
Cover-
FMD was under
Cover-
has gone
Closet, too.
through and found a bunch of like
Oh, yeah,
empty
the-
space that they could,
The nooks and crannies.
Yeah.
the-
and find
Rebate.
space
Always
to
offered to take that.
utilize. And I mean,
Put
if-
I'll put my prediction in an envelope, I'll mail it to myself.
yeah.
Then I'm gonna put it like Karnak.
Bury it
Then
out
I'm
back.
gonna sit here like Karnak, I'm gonna go. "Oh, like they usually
Okay,
say,
so say we get,
she said trailers.
so say we get,
I,
we get the master plan.
6 months ago, I said trailers. I think I just was afraid we weren't
Say
gonna
we get the master plan and we've got we're in the process of building our brand new, beautiful big school that has everything that we'll ever need. But we have to put in a trailer in the meantime. Is that horrible?
Well, it's the waste of money. It's what he said. You're lighting money on fire.
Agree.
So if it would help do something and still benefit us, then we wouldn't be wasting that money.
Could it be something like what is it, the frame building that can be used later? It has partitions, you can partition things off, use it as a classroom, you're done with it.
We talked about
There's
that.
and-
It's separate,
And it becomes-
separate building is difficult.
It is,
doesn't
and
have to
then,
be a
and
separate
just
building.
partitioning, that's not conducive for learning. I'm telling you
Yeah,
right now.
I know, it's like I'm just thinking like maybe the thicker things that are, like.
Well, you can come in and stud
actually-
walls and,
Yeah, you
and
can put it-
things like that
put
and
it-
and
sure,
drywall
people put
it.
in walls.
Yeah, and make
Full
it like
insulation and make it a
a
little bit
gym in
better.
the future.
Yeah,
We've
it's
talked
like-
about that
But
before.
even,
We
even
waited
that,
too
though,
long.
would take
It's
a
exactly.
year and
that.
a half to 2 years to get done.
Yeah, I think you got 18 months in any addition.
Is there a reason there can't be a site plan, just a proposed site plan?
That's the
That's
master
the master
plan.
plan.
Yes, but is
Yeah.
there a reason it can't, I mean, and it should be fluid, it should be easily changed and adaptive to what,
That's
The
what
results
FMD is,
from
that's what FMD is going to be proposing to us in the next couple of months,
Okay.
hopefully less than 2 months would be my January.
Well, that's what
February.
I asked you.
I would,
You said that the OFCC was gonna be ready by February.
the OFCC meeting to
FDM,
approve the funding
FMD.
aspect of it is in February. But
is
FMD
already
could,
doing their-
FMD is already starting the process of, once they get the
Okay.
OFCC.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, once the OFCC.
I didn't wanna wait for June on that.
No, once the OFCC gets their enrollment study done and gives that to FMD, FMD is gonna start building a proposed master plan.
That should be within the next few weeks or so. Yeah,
I'm saying
the way she
February,
told
but I'm hoping
Yeah.
they're under.
So they build a
promising
master
February.
plan and then from there you get an architect.
Yes.
So
To where
somewhere in that, we should probably have
we,
this phase where we actually can talk about an addition. I mean, we can't go down there and
But
figure out what
nobody's
we need,
got-
but we need an
April,
architect.
April, May, we need to have RFPs out for an architect.
Or do we come up with because this is taking 6 to 8 months, we've been having this meeting. We come up with we gotta make a decision by this date, right? Or at least an advisory to the board. Because this is the no-go to an addition or trailers or whatever date. Whether that be June 1st,
Knowing what we know now, I think we're already past that, like. That's just my opinion, knowing where we're at based on timeframes of how, whether additions or trailers, whatever, we're past, like, knowing what they're getting ready to hit us
Mhm.
with and the speed in which we're going to have to act in order to get this going.
that's what I like to hear.
We need to hyper focus, laser focus on what's this master plan, what's our next building? And how are we, like, what are we doing? We need to hyper focus on that aspect. That's just my,
I kind of agree. And if trailers end up being part of that aspect, it sucks, but so be it. I don't look at it as a waste because hopefully we did educate some kids in there. And, but
I have a quick question.
I hate doing stuff for
But that's
nothing
part of the
too.
reason that, like, when it comes to athletics, we don't have the money. Because if we're making a big flushing sound to put money in trailers, and
I
even
get
if
it.
even if it took 18 months to 2 years, if Mr. Nutter's saying we're covered for 2 years, then that would open right when we're running out of classroom space. And it would still be another year at least down the road until the new building is built.
Well,
So
hopefully
I-
when they get that stuff done, maybe there'll be something, like you said, in that
It
plan
could
that
include
says.
it,
could.
expand
We're
it.
they
building
definitely
this
said that.
extra section onto the elementary. Because that's most needed, for instance, you know, because I know like once we leave, the high school leaves this area, I would assume that makes a huge difference in. Or am I wrong with that? That leaves a lot of space for middle school and.
I mean, you're removing an entire grade level. If 9-12 leaves out of here. Granted, 25 to 30% of our juniors and seniors go to somewhere else already anyway. But now you've got in here just 6, 7, and 8, if they're, it's all hypothetical. For anyone listening. In the event that we would add on to the elementary so that we could get our 5th grade back over and it would go back to being a true K-5, then this entire section minus the old building but even that's back on the table. Of can we keep that space? Because now that we're opening back up and going for additional stuff, that master plan changes of what we cannot keep for educational.
You
space.
can
Now,
keep that space until that, whatever that building for
Yes.
3 years is done, until that's done.
But to your point, can this high school, this current 9-12 and the future usable space, that direction back into the 60s still be used? Will that cover our 6th, 7th and 8th grade? And if not, then that means, well, I'm
But
saying.
you've
with
got
an
more
addition to
elementary
elementary.
kids coming too, so
Oh,
it's not as
That's what I'm
simple as
saying. This
adding
is-
on and making that K through 5.
But adding enough space to, again, them looking at the data and saying, this is what you're getting and when you're getting them, and this is the anticipated aspect. Here's our recommendation of a new building here, some additions there, some renovations here. Here's what it looks like to house X number of kids that you've got. And we've got a K2 in Carriage Trail, that becomes 3, 4, 5. This becomes a 6, 7, 8, and we got a brand new high school. I don't know what it's gonna be.
I think the
but we
best
could end up
scenario
being-
is we add on to this building. And we build a what do you call it, primary school and our high school at the same time.
Yeah.
Those are parallel construction projects.
Yeah.
And then this is the junior high, middle school, right?
Right.
And that's,
And all that sounds great, and I agree with you. I think that's exactly how it's gonna turn out. This will be the middle school.
right.
Hopefully, we'll have a school down in Carriage
Yeah.
Trails, we'll have a new high.
But we need to,
school. But
if we do make this the middle school, then we kind of got to figure out how the addition idea fits this building the best, right?
the add-on,
Yeah.
like some classroom, yes, and that's why I keep.
But is that
suggesting add-on.
is that our deficiency? Or, is that where we're short in the next 3 years?
Is it here or there?
I think we
High
will
school?
be, because we have, some of the middle schoolers are in the elementary.
And they will be going into high school,
Right,
right?
and-
5th grades down there.
So the surge is going
5,
through,
6.
Right, but then the 4th graders are gonna move up and the 5th graders are gonna move up, so.
right? That's my point is 5 classrooms on the end of this building. Help us for 3 years,
I don't see how it can.
Or for
That
18
can't
months.
Not help.
because it takes a year to 18 months to build. And then we'll hopefully have a new
Well,
school
I'm
in
still
3 to
for
4
doing what
years.
she suggests. I mean, we've talked about that, having a building that we can convert to maybe a gym or a cafeteria at the end.
Yeah.
During the day can be used as a cafeteria and used for practices and.
Theoretically, it can be hooked to this building in the back section. or something,
Right, over
but-
by the cafeteria or the kitchen.
So I am a little concerned because back in February, earlier this year, FMD came in and said they had these plans for like Andy said, helping to fill in some of those nooks and crannies, just, they never,
Couple
I don't think they identified how many students that would,
They didn't have
help
the enrollment,
with-
yeah.
but we've never saw that process. We've heard, but we never saw anything, and that's something that if we had seen, perhaps we could have considered it and maybe taken it further back in April or whatever. So now they've known for a long time that we need that master plan. I don't know
Right.
if they're really working on it or not. I'm just really, so I hope that they already really are.
That's where the squeaky wheel needs to come in on that.
Because they know enough that they can, I'm sorry.
I feel like they do.
They know enough that they can get started.
Right.
And they already had a partial plan put together for some of that stuff, so. And maybe it wasn't any good, but
So an auditorium arts comes out of our funding. It's not,
Depends.
it's ELP. It's not ELP.
Can we
Remember
call it
that?
the choir room?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, if you do a performing arts center and part of that performing arts center is the choir room.
Well, that's
And
what I'm asking. Do we build a future,
band
Is the band room.
do we build a future
That becomes
auditorium on
open
the end,
space.
but it's divided into classrooms for now? You know, I'm talking about an open building that could be an auditorium one day. If we've got to fund that, if we got to fund the addition and that out of the same pot,
But well, I guess what I'm saying is that auditorium will be part, if we're gonna build a new high school in a 912, the auditorium will be attached. It'll be part of that high school.
Yeah,
well, this would be the middle school auditorium then. I mean, it wouldn't be as grand, but
Yeah.
yeah, but an auditorium
that's
for seating and.
maybe not middle
stages
school,
up
is it?
there.
I mean, yeah, we can make it better than a
We
cafetorium.
currently use Bethel
Yeah.
Hall.
Well,
Right.
that you already have one.
Right.
I don't think an auditorium,
I'm just trying to think of a flex
Really
space
can't
that,
add
that we have to fund both
without
ways
going
anyway.
on a Cafeteria, cause that cafeteria barely,
No,
you can't put any more lunches in
Right.
there.
but we could build them, we could, they can design the building to be modded.
Well, I'm
Whether,
just
whether we
saying,
redo the floors or whatever after.
I'm just saying, you can't put any more lunch periods in there because they're already maxed.
And they're eating at like 10:30 in the morning.
So that's what I'm saying, we're already maxed at
So if you-
lunch.
that's,
periods.
that was what I was pointing out earlier. You had 5 classrooms in this building. You're already maxing out all the infrastructure items,
Right. And then you
bathrooms,
gotta think about
cafeteria.
This cafeteria.
It
you're
doesn't make any
maxing it
sense.
out.
Right, so now we gotta build a new cafeteria.
There's a lot more than just building, adding on, there's all these other facility parts that.
Right, do we have enough restrooms to,
Cause you gotta have so many
Right, I know.
stalls per student.
that, so many stalls per people anywhere? Commercial.
Mhm.
Without the Todd, we wouldn't have any.
We'd have
bathrooms.
We'd have Porta Johns.
Porta Johns.
Well, the boys need to be using them. Not all bathrooms. Tired,
Hey, what do you
fixed.
say our emergency buckets for,
There you go.
lockdown?
You guys don't put
Those
targets
are,
in the urinals? Targets in there?
It's not the urinals that are a problem. I'm about to pull all the doors off the partitions, let's just say that.
Do it.
I'm ready to.
Back in the day.
After. I should say. Oh,
Just make a row of toilets out there. You don't need
In the
partitions.
bathroom.
I'm all right with that too.
Give them half doors.
The 80-20 thing.
Yeah.
So is that determined based on, once they decide, or we decide like, this is the building, this is what we need, or they say, you have 23 million, we'll give you. How
So
is
that 20,
determined?
that 23.5 million becomes our 20%,
I get that.
right?
but-
Well,
So-
actually, it goes towards
Part
our
of it.
20%.
Yeah,
We
it
can
goes
go above
towards
and
it.
beyond the
Go-
23.
Yeah. But if we're gonna borrow or pay no more money or ask the community for no more money, that 23.5 million becomes our 20%. Which means that 80%, we can go up to whatever 80%,
That's what. I'm
do
saying.
somebody a lot better at math, do that. for
Well,
me.
it's not just.
It's almost just $100 million,
Just be over, just over.
or like 109 million or 108 million, whatever it
But
is.
That 23 million is not the total of the 80-20, right? Because that's only for that particular building. So originally.
No. What I'm saying is the additional money that we can go up to 100 and, I don't know what the exact math is. Let's say it's 105 million.
With no out of
That-
pocket.
With no out of pocket, because we will take that 23.5 million and use that as our 20%. And then the rest of that 80 some million, 87 million, 84 million, whatever it is,
Right.
becomes what we've used to build.
But it still depends.
But
on
then
what
we
the
get
OFCC
20% of
thinks
that
we can
back.
spend.
Right.
At some.
Which would be
point.
more than that, right?
I mean,
I mean,
80%
schools
of
have
that
to be
back
more than 100
At
million.
some point.
So.
That wasn't the case the last time.
Yeah.
The last time they gave a number that was not more than what we need.
Yeah.
Right. It was
we were in a-
28.6 million or whatever, and we ended up being 34 million or something. or
So where does
whatever it
this
was.
80 million come in?
I think that's the additional, when you look at 80-20 split and the fact that we've got 23 million in credit that we can use
Oh.
as our 20%, they're saying the
I was-
OFCC would give you 80 million to.
I was
equal
hoping you
100.
had a fund with 80 million in it.
No,
Plus our
No,
23 million.
Yeah, no,
I don't
that would
think
be
that's- I
fantastic.
think that's
No.
what the 80 million.
I didn't get the power.
I was like, we have 100 million if you include this rebate. dollars?
Yeah, no. But then like she said, we get credit back off of that 107 million as well at 20%, right?
Yeah, I don't know where the 107 came from, but let me tell you about the 80, because I
I'm
did.
just-
I did ask-
He's saying the 20%
I
at
get it.
23 million is
but
just
that's
over
not-
100
but
million.
That's not what
Yeah.
the 23 million is, so that's not entirely correct.
I'm not saying that
origin-
I'm
so-
not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that that credit can be used as our 20% of.
As part of
additional-
it,
yeah, As
yes.
part, yeah,
As
as
part of it.
part of it, yeah.
So originally, here's the numbers. The 80% they were gonna give us was 50,000 and change,
50 million.
50 million, sorry.
Hey, somebody forgetting his name. What are we talking about here?
Million and change, right? So that was based on building that K through 5 and adding on to this building to make this a high school / middle school. That's what they allowed us in that 50 million. We had to put in 12 million.
Right.
But because there was no OFCC money, and this is where the 80/20, that's where the 80/20 came from. That's what it was. That was the offer at the time. So we had to lock into that number back in, what we decided was 2020 or whatever year it was. 2019. 2019, 20, somewhere in there. So we locked into that 80/20 then, but it still applies now. And that was by their analysis where we were in line.
Right.
So because the 5 years before that, when we built this building, it was the opposite. It was, we had to pay 80%, they would pay 20, which is not worth it because you got to follow a bunch of their standards.
Right.
So that's where the 80/20 comes from.
Mhm.
So but the 80 million, I asked Valerie about that and she said it's not a firm number, but a lot of that, she said, was based on just prices have gone up.
Yeah.
Because their estimate does not include the projected numbers either yet.
Correct.
So it
Right.
could be that, it could be more, it could be less. We
Well,
don't know that.
And the enrollment, the projected enrollment dictates how much
How much you
square
get,
footage we
yeah.
can build.
Yeah.
And based on that square footage that you can build times a per student capita gives you your overall money, correct?
Yes.
Right. There's a
times
dollar
projected,
amount
yes.
dollar amount per square foot.
And that's what we.
And
get
your
as
square
far as square
footage
foot.
is based
That's
upon
where
what your
the
enrollment is.
80% comes
Yeah, the state pays, so
based on.
if we're gonna build $100 million worth of facilities, the state would pay 80 million and we would pay 20 million.
I get that.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to figure out, okay, is like if you have, XYZ cost, we have $23 million. We don't wanna necessarily say we're throwing all the 23 million in there.
Mhm.
And if something goes wrong, then we have to, or it was overpriced, then we're gonna have to come up with that money somewhere
There's
else.
contingency.
So, like, can it be without giving up part of that 80%? It's like, okay, so I'm gonna make a building that's $90 million. And they still give it, you know what I'm saying?
It's hard for us to
Like,
dictate
you
that
say,
though, because
Yeah, they won't.
I'm only putting
Yeah.
in 20 million instead of the 23, because I wanna leave this as a contingency.
They'll only give you 80% of that. So
So they'll
use,
only give you 80% of, like, if you say you're
100%.
only gonna give 20, they're only gonna give this specific amount. Or do they have?
No, they
this
say-
is how much
yeah.
it costs.
yes,
and
Yes.
They
we
start-
have
they start with the total
80%, And
cost,
then you
yes.
have to figure, so we don't know what the 20% is gonna
Correct.
be yet.
they may recommend we build $200 million worth of facilities.
Right. And so.
They'll pay 80% of that. We've only got 23
Yeah.
million sitting there.
Right.
We may have to come up with another 100 million.
Okay.
You know,
but
so-
if we phase it, we could get that back.
But if we phase it,
Then we can get that back.
continue to get credits, stay in that 80/20.
Or through.
Could be through
What's the-
bonds, but then eventually we'll get 80% of that back that could pay off those bonds. So
Yeah.
even if we went to the public,
Why
You
would
know,
we get 80% of the 23 back?
no, so here's where the 23 million comes from. We built that K5, right?
Right.
And here's what happened. They said your projected enrollment is gonna be 800 and, I'm gonna blow the number, I'll just say 850.
Mhm.
So times the square footage, right? The square footage that's needed for 850 times the cost to build at the time was how they came to the number that we ended up getting 23 plus million back.
23.6.
Did that
is the
make sense?
estimated.
So the whole school costs, what is 20% of, what's the 23% of? 23 million, I don't know, 100, let's just say 100 million, right? So we would get, that's what the 23 million came from, was the cost to build that school. We also put LFI, our local funds, into that building to make it to 1,000 students.
Yes.
So, and what we were told was when they do this re-estimating, you know, down the line, they said you'll be able to do this. If Carriage Trails 2.0 becomes true, you'll be able to have them reproject, which is what they're gonna do. And then if it turns out to be more than the 850 students they originally projected, we made the school for 1,000, they will give us the 80% of that money we spent to make it to 1,000.
So any money above 23 million. Right, if we have 23 million, if we spend 25 million, so we spend an extra $2 million, they'll give us 80% of that 2 million that we spent above and beyond. Does that make sense?
They'll give it back.
Yes, it's as a credit.
Credit.
For future building.
To pay off
Eventually, it's
loans
not
and
a
stuff.
credit though. So what was supposed to happen was you go into the ELPP program, which is the school pays everything up front. Because they didn't have the money sitting in the coffers, right? So we had to pay everything, which is why we have this 8% bond for, I don't know, 38 years or
Yeah.
whatever it was, right? So we have that bond, we paid that up front. So if that was the only school we built and we were done, we'd get that 23 million free and clear. But he's saying because we're still in the program,
And we
they're
still
gonna
need
make
to
it
build.
make us use it as a credit towards the next one, which was our plan all along. We were gonna take that money and then
And
go
use
to
it to
phase
build,
two
yes.
to build whatever we needed next.
So that 80 million that we're talking about is just the 80% of, because we already have our 20%, right? If that.
I think
23
it's included in the 80 million. I asked that question too, and she said yes. So the original 50 million, it's gone up to potentially 80
Yeah,
million.
Right,
That 80 million is not hard and fast. That's what I was told.
it can
But-
fluctuate based upon need and, square.
And when they add.
Because you're
then the
only
student-
allowed to build so much square footage as well. So, yeah,
based
That's a
on
lot,
the
but-
school-
Based on
Based on
The projections,
Yeah.
the
The
projections,
student projections.
And even if you go above and beyond that, you can't add as much as you want. We couldn't have doubled it if we wanted to, but.
We could if we had the
Might
money.
be-
We could
Right.
have, we could have built that school to be 2,000 if we had the money.
Right.
We didn't have the money.
Right,
Because
There's no problem.
they only
with that.
saw us at 850
Yeah.
students in her example, and we ended up with 1,000 students.
Do we
We
have
get money
10?
back when we go over expectations, that's what.
Well, we knew our expectations.
Don't.
They just weren't accurate on their expectations, yeah.
We just need to. prove
Fortunately, it doesn't go the other way, I assume. We end up not filling the school up and,
they don't get us our money.
No, I don't.
yeah. they
That's
don't-
why they're. that's
they
why
don't come to us and
That's why
say-
they're conservative in their numbers,
Right.
because they don't want that to happen, because that has happened to them.
Sure.
Or districts have. Do we have 1,000 students in the elementary? In K through?
I just threw out.
No.
Not
Okay.
since we took fifth grade out.
866.
If fifth grade was still over there, we'd be at like 1,100-1,200.
But
We have
I told you they did that.
866.
They did their enrollment projections at the peak of when Carriage Trails would end, because they expected no more kids.
Right.
coming, Right. And that number was actually not that far off. It was higher than 800 something. The problem was, it was a 10-year estimate, right? So you say it was 1,000 here, and then it comes back down. At the 10-year period, it was the 850. So that's why we had to build the school there. Even though when we opened it, we knew it was gonna be up here at the
And
peak.
continuing to go.
Well,
Yeah.
if Carriage Trails 2.0 had continued 2
Yes.
years ago, yeah, we'd be way above that.
Yeah.
But now that's why enrollment's gone down, because
They've,
there was a lapse in there because the commissioners voted no for us, right? So they it kind of drug out the annexation, which Mr. Keefer pointed out.
Couple times.
Yeah. So it gave a little breather in there, right? Because
Yeah.
no, you're not building 100 houses.
Yeah,
here
yeah,
or
yeah. Yeah, for
120.
sure. it bought us some time.
It bought us some time. It's still gonna happen.
So I have 3 questions. First one is there any recommendations that we as a group want to take to the board in the end of the year meeting next Monday, December 15th?
Bill. Go.
Drill, baby,
Now,
drill.
start today.
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill.
That's what we need, an oil well.
I think-
Get through that limestone.
Several of
find us-
them.
yeah.
Feet to the fire.
I'm a lottery. That's
Yeah, that's that
Maybe I'll
master plan.
revisit the
That's-
ones
yeah.
that we already said, and I can share them again, the ones that are still valid. Because some of them aren't valid anymore, I don't, yeah. And then, I don't know if there's any other hearing of the public tonight. And then, so for January, I cannot make that meeting, but, and I wasn't sure how it goes in the winter time, or if based on our meeting tonight, knowing that we're waiting, but yeah, on the other hand, we need to get going, but I don't know. if
Are we gonna have anything to talk
I'd
about?
say just wait,
Yeah.
just cancel it, January.
That's my opinion.
I can't make that one anyway.
Yeah, I say just cancel January's.
That's,
What was
that
the
was
date?
originally the 14th, right?
Yeah.
January 14th, yeah. Well, I don't know if we have to vote on that. If everybody's okay with that, we'll just cancel that.
Do you think we have anything to discuss, Julie? If, unless we get,
Build.
yeah.
I guess,
Not
if
really.
We could have
anything comes up-
shovel, we can bring shovels that night.
Yeah, try and break that ground.
I'm good on eBay, look for trailers.
Go out here, start digging. Going out back, start digging.
Soon as you hit rock.
Exactly.
I'd say, and it doesn't have to happen, the only thing that we could potentially do and start talking about is knowing that some of this master planning and what our facilities are gonna, if, yeah, I know we don't know what we're going to build, but start asking folk just on your own, not necessarily officially, but like what, for those of you that are in different friends groups and social groups and stuff like that, what are the pain points? I mean, I think we all kind of know what they are, but like if we were to build a new high school, like what are those things? And just kind of finding out what those pain points are for people. Obviously, again, we know two of the biggest ones right now, but are there more? What are some desires? What would you
What are
like
the
to
biggest
see?
pain points? What are the two?
No athletic complex or restrooms or running water out at our facility and just purely lack of space.
And again, I brought this up a couple, at least last meeting or a couple meetings. I mean, we're switching conferences and it's gonna add a lot
Yeah.
Yes. we
A
got
lot to our-
lots.
to our academic or our athletic events.
Mhm.
Hey Todd, can they add
Yes.
parking to the front of our elementary? You know where our parking lot is? Cause we
Well-
already have problems when it's conference night and that.
What was talked about was some of this green space.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about even, between our parking lot and.
Oh,
Because they already, even those nights, I mean, couldn't
Might
that
well.
be extended? Cause
It's wasted land.
Is that 27, 28?
Feel like that's
In the
what
conference
they-
center?
Not next year, but the year after.
They have to walk from parking.
So
night.
Next year's,
We need to-
next year's 25, 26, so
I mean, that's just the way it is.
26, 27 is,
26, 27 is still TRC.
okay,
So this is 5, 6.
yeah, that's right,
6, 7,
Okay,
and
so
then 7, 8. we
seven,
plan.
8.
Okay. Change
We
next
got
year.
one more year, but.
One more full
One
year.
more full school year.
I'd say that'd be right across from stadium. That'd be really good for like handicap parking.
Parallel to all of this, which some of this may come up with our needs and so we are in the process of, and this has to do with the facilities.
yeah.
We've engaged a company called Four Seasons to come up with to come out and assess all of our MEP. Basically anything from the rooftop to the asphalts when it comes to a maintenance plan, right?
Mhm.
But within that maintenance plan, and once we put that 5-year maintenance plan together and what it's gonna cost to do replacements and upkeep and preventative stuff, is what are our additional capital needs that we can address outside of any kind of a new build, so parking lots
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting that information together. So once we have that, in addition to the master plan, there's a lot that's starting to get pieced together
Yeah.
that is gonna tell us a lot. And some of those kind additional bleachers, additional parking lots, additional just flat blacktop area.
So
to
they're
park in,
gonna
stuff
take
like
in
that.
consideration that stuff too, along with maintenance side?
No, they will give us the maintenance aspect of it.
Oh, and
And
now
this
that you
is-
know what
this
the
is how
budget's
much,
gonna
yeah,
be. for-
over the course of the next 5 years, here's what you're gonna spend to maintain your
They're
facility.
gonna come out here and you're right, money left, so.
We can say,
You need,
I
They
started,
started with the
I started with
1917
him in the
building.
old building. He was like.
you ran out of money. We haven't even on the first floor
Yeah,
yet.
he's like,
So
holy cow.
I'm saying, once we get that, then we can look at what are some other smaller facility things that we can do that aren't, that are a part of the master plan, but can be handled outside of OFCC funding and all that kind of stuff. What can we handle and take care of
Okay,
in-house? A field house, extra parking lots, things of that nature. So
Right.
that is, I think we can, not in January, but I think that those are also, which they kind of said mid-January, end of January, we would have a report on what that would look like, which we'll give, and then we'll have a
Because that
full-time
gap is-
treasurer starting in January, that somebody that's here.
that gap's gonna be the boosters in the community, right?
What's that?
That gap will be the boosters in the community, whatever the school cannot fund. let's say the
Yeah,
field house
but
costs
if
500,000.
we want to do it through a fundraising initiative or something like that, yeah, but that whole piece. Yeah, you got a hard stop, do you?
I needed to be home by 8 to take the phone call, but I didn't, that's
Okay.
okay. If we're, I don't
Wrap it
wanna, I
Yep.
was gonna say, did you guys decide that you do wanna have a January meeting then?
I don't think we need to.
No.
no.
Okay. I
It's
wasn't-
been January asking.
Okay, yeah, and
Finding
as
out,
hopefully everything else will
probing.
come, so, we'll push January.
So I got another proposal. This is out of the box. You guys are gonna laugh, but, the township is gonna go under when this happens. There is so much traffic already. So the idea would be to trade land up here for land down there and put the school down there. It's probably not possible, but it's an interesting idea.
That's why I pushed as big as elementary as we can down there,
Yeah,
like beyond primary. Is that possible? Or is it do we have multi elementaries? And you said, and somebody said, well, we can't do that. It'll be us versus them, but in my old school district, we had second graders over here and second graders over here.
yeah, lots of schools have, big
Yeah,
schools have.
I don't know why we couldn't do that. And
I mean,
that
look
just,
at Old
that reduces
Tangy
the
with-
busing.
Yeah, Olentangy would grew it at the rate that
We always had that.
Yeah.
We had like two different elementary.
Yeah, we had-
schools, one in the country, one in the.
What I would like to see,
Yeah.
And I came from a small school.
what I would like to see is 2 elementaries and then we put 6th grade in the
Yeah,
elementaries.
cause we even had
What-
Ivy and,
Yeah, we had two middle
somewhere in
schools, two
Brandon.
elementary schools.
yeah.
There's
And
some
then
we all
one
in the
into
top
high
three
school
from
together.
there. I don't, it's probably.
We did
not
agreement,
possible.
yeah.
It would be,
No big deal.
18 acres isn't enough.
Like,
though.
it was kind of
Houston,
fun because
Ivy.
then there
No,
was a
18 would not
rivalry,
be enough.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
For a school.
Especially. when
In
you play
Carriage Trails, but I'm
sports.
saying-
Go in a parking lot and a retention pond. It's gonna go quick.
Yeah.
But maybe across the street, there's farmers that maybe would, trade land. Cause they don't wanna be across from Carriage Trails. I don't know.
I just think if we push to have as big an elementary as we can down there, that will reduce a lot of the 201
Yeah.
traffic.
Well, it's not just the traffic too. I mean, it does save on the school bus, problem.
Right.
Because,
Yeah,
I mean, when you go out there now, it's
Have
just
kids
a
walking.
school bus going.
Right.
today. Yeah.
Depends
kids
on the
can walk.
age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if it's a primary, it's not safe for them to be walking.
oh,
Kindergartners.
No,
back in
but
my
there-
day when I was a kindergartner, I had to walk. to
Don't say
school.
that because
It's
there
uphill
are
both ways.
guidelines, there are guidelines. and
Yeah, I know.
laws.
I'm sure there is.
How far and all
I'm
that.
sure
Yes, and
But I would
age.
say a large,
Age appropriate.
How far-
there's gotta be a
Doesn't
majority of
matter,
those
it has
kids
to
get
go
dropped
by
off.
age too.
It doesn't bus though, like their whole elementary has to walk, no way.
Well, they don't have to walk. They can be
Yeah.
taken with their
They can do it.
parents,
But
right?
I
I'm
know
in on
that's
private.
I would hope of,
You see like little groups of kids with maybe one older kid walking with them and I'm like,
Yeah.
those are little kids.
You
it's
got
okay.
Oakwood kids come in limousines and.
Yeah.
Chauffeur drops them off.
That was, it just depended on, it was like.
There's some money in this
Kids
community.
all right, no meeting in January.
Okay.
Got that, Julie?
What's that? Yeah, no meaning. It's a mistake.
Then, she gets. She'll just scribble here.
Go ahead.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Second.
For all like. Give
Okay,
her
who's
a-
first?
She's first, I'll second.
Okay,
The first.
all right. Julie, will you call?
Natalie,
Yes.
Damon?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
Julie, yes. Todd,
Yes.
Lorna,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Mindy,
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
And Dee.
Yes.
Okay, time.
It is,
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Not too bad. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thanks.
And
Oh, yeah, I gotta.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Here's a run everybody.
Taylor, thank you for coming. And I'm glad you got to come, Lorna, and you too,
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Yeah, check it out.